Okay. Okay. I think we're I think we're back. Okay. That was my bad. That was my bad. My bad. I reached over here to like mute my microphone real quick while I cleared my throat. And when I did that, I guess the palm of my hand hit the end stream button, which I foolishly placed at the spot I'm most likely to bump it. So this is my bad. The internet did not drop. It literally was just me pressing the button to end the stream accidentally. Professional streamer here. I do this for a living. Yep. Sure do. Sure do. Yep. It is that stupid of an explanation. Yep. Sure is. So I'm literally gonna pull up this like stream deck thing now, and I'm gonna move these buttons so I don't do that again. I cannot believe I've never done that before. I've never done it before, and yet today's the day, I guess. That is so funny. Okay, that goes in there. That goes there. Put this one in here. Okay. Now the buttons are hidden in a folder on the Stream Deck so they can't hurt anyone anymore. There we go. Done. Problem solved. 'Twas me that ended the stream. Yes, 'twas. So we're not talking about the spoiler. When did it go out? Right as I like put the spoiler text on screen? Is that when it went out? Is that what happened? Right before? Okay. That's funny. Okay. That's really funny. All I was going to say is this whole idea of like, once you're not safe because NPCs can lie to you and stuff. It's similar to what happened in It's similar to what happened in The Last of Us Part 2, where you go and, I guess I don't have the, kind of important to have the spoiler text also here. There we go. It's similar to what happens here, because what happens is you go to like the crafting bench. You've done this a bajillion times in the game before. And then there's a whole combat sequence that plays out. It would be like getting jumped while you're in the main menu, or you go into the options menu to change whether VSync is turned on, and you get jumped like that. It's so cool. But once that happens, you're not safe. You know you're not safe. And so it raises the tension, raises the stakes, makes you sit up and pay more attention, because it could happen at any other time. And I don't know about you guys. The next time, like, I was at a crafting station, I was like, kind of anxious. It's brilliant. And so I think lock it in. I think I want a game, an RPG. I want it to lie to me. I want to see what happens when that happens. Continue. Sorry, Jacob, you're going to have to cut these two together.
But my own confusion manifests as fully buying into my character's descent into violence. And so I kill her. She becomes one with her plants in the soil. Searching her body for some kind of hidden truth, I find a recipe for something that would appear to help combat the poison swamp monster I encountered earlier. It's too late for that, but I assume this is the valuable information she was going to exchange her book for. We could have saved a lot of time here, it seems. Not that you can shave a huge amount of time off of Atomfall's runtime. I'm told by the developers at Rebellion that you'd struggle to finish the story in less than 4 or 5 hours, and that most players will take around 25. Quite what will happen over those 25 hours could be quite varied though.
Dude, that's a crazy swing. So the devs, without like speed running stuff, the devs are saying you could do it within like 4 to 5 hours, but most people will take 25. That's a crazy swing. Huh. That's wild. But I'm guessing in order to do that, you have to know exactly where to go, what to do. You need to know exactly what to take from where. I'm sure that's not like an easy ending you're going to stumble into your first playthrough, but it's cool that they've at least anticipated that.
To someone else at the demo session who went on an entirely different adventure to mine. One that started with a crashed helicopter I never encountered and led to a whole new region filled with killer robots and mutants. It appears that even by just skimming the surface of Atomfall, there are many depths, secrets and mysteries to be found. I do wonder if some of the objectives may be too obtuse for some though. The lack of direction could certainly be off-putting, but Atomfall feels like a game that rewards you the more you indulge in its obfuscated quest design. The blurred lines between the side and main objectives add a real peril to every action, with its malleable
I'm sorry, that was just funny. There's a gigantic sign.
Lines between the side and main
minefield. There's two. I didn't see the second one. There's a second gigantic sign that says minefield. So he just walks right between the two death signs and blows up.
Objectives add a real peril to every action, with its malleable plot design encouraging each player to tell their own tale, to find their own ending and explanation for what has happened here in the irradiated English countryside. I'll still see the end of the story, despite killing off poor old Mother Jago. It may just be wildly different from yours, but that's all I have time to see today. For now, my hands bloodied from the undeserved demise of a herbalist and the warpath I've left behind, I decide to engage in full British mode. Take my cricket bat, head to the pub, and wait for this all to blow over. For more Atomfall, check out the latest in-depth game overview trailer, and for everything else, stick with IGN.
Honestly, looks kind of fire. I think, you know, one of the things that's been unfortunate with the heightened development costs for a lot of these games is that AA games kind of started to get weeded out a little bit. Game Pass made them much more viable because they could go on Game Pass, assuming the deal they got on Game Pass was good. And, you know, games that people previously would have been like, I don't know if I'm going to put $40 up, $50 up for that. You can play it on Game Pass and it fits much better. That's why I said Avowed, I think, is a perfect Game Pass title, because it's a game not worth $70 in my opinion at all. But for Game Pass, yeah, sure, give it a shot. I think you can have fun with it. And this is something that seems similar, where being much shorter, much more focused, and certainly much more niche, I could see it being a tough sell to people on the total outside. But I respect a lot of the design choices, you know? Too much British. 7 out of 10. Yeah, too much. I think it looks fine, not exactly wowed by it. I don't think this is one of those games that's going to like wow you. I think it's one of those games that's going to it knows what it's trying to do and it does nothing more. You know, it's a AA type of game that's much tighter in scope. It's going to have kind of bad AI, it's going to have clunky combat, but you're playing it for the writing, for the dynamics, and that's where you can have fun with it. It seems similar to like another game that I actually like and I think you should try, which is Vampyr. This is a throwback. This was published by Focus before they were Focus Entertainment, but it's developed by Don't Nod. And it's a game that's also kind of in that AA space. It's really clunky. It doesn't have great combat. It's not a 10 out of 10 masterpiece or anything, but it's got some really clever, unique ideas, which, similar to Atomfall, you know, I think make it engaging enough. The whole mechanic here in this game is that you're a vampire and you have the option of feeding on residents of the city to gain power, basically levels to become more powerful, making the game easier, combat easier, but you're destroying the city in the process, and whole districts will like collapse if you do that. But if you choose, for narrative reasons, I'm not gonna give in. I'm not gonna give in to the urge of feeding on innocent civilians. You can still complete the game, but it is way more difficult because you're not feeding. You know, you're a vampire not feeding. You're going to be weaker. And so it's got some really clever, unique ideas that I think are really just interesting. I kind of hope they go back to it and do like a sequel, but it's a 2018 game. It's a throwback. It's a throwback, but yeah, it's one I recommend you try. It's not like amazing, but it's got some really clever, interesting little tidbits there. Similar seemingly to Atomfall. And that's why I think these types of games that are more experimental, a little weirder, I think those are crucial for a healthy industry. And so Atomfall might not be for you, but hopefully at least you can appreciate why it exists, you know? Vampyr was good. He's Jack the Ripper. The first KCD game was this way pretty much. Well, exactly. Like you look at KCD, it started as basically a kickstarted indie game in a lot of ways, and it was good. I really liked the first game, but it was clunky as hell. It needed a lot of work before it was like a strong recommend for everybody. And then you saw them learn from that. They were given a second chance to work on the sequel and do what they really wanted to do the first time around. And they nailed it. They nailed it. I mean, the second game was phenomenal. It's fantastic. And I would really hope that they got the chance to do like a Vampyr 2. I don't think they did. Don't nod. They are the same team. They did Banishers and Lost Records. Prior to that, they did Jusant, Harmony, The Fall of Reverie. I don't know what that is. This looks like one of those games that would win games for impact. You know, seems like one of those. Twin Mirror, Tell Me Why, Life is Strange 2, and then they did Awesome Adventures of Captain Spirit. I've never heard of that one. And Vampyr. So, and prior to that, they did Life is Strange. So, like, they've done some good stuff, but then they've done some really weird, more niche stuff. Banishers, I don't think performed super well, which is kind of too bad. But, Lost Records, I don't know, man. I just don't know why they keep doing the episodic thing. I can't stand the episodic stuff. Even if the game is good, breaking it up into two separate things, like for me, it makes it so I'm not going to play it at launch because I'm waiting for the whole thing. Because I don't want to play half a game, wait 6 months and play the second one. Like, I want to just play the game. Maybe some people don't care and are fine with it, but all that means is that I end up waiting until it's on sale, which is not what they want, you know, so I'm okay with it. I'm glad some people are. I mean, they're doing it because obviously it works for them. But for me, it's just such a turnoff, which is too bad. Excuse me. Vampyr is $8 right now, by the way. Oh, hell yeah. Guys, it's $8. $8. Come on. Go get Vampyr. Give it a shot. Give it a shot. You'll be happy. Let's do this real quick. Let's talk about this one. New segment. Also, Roman is me. Thank you for the sub with Prime. Thank you. I accidentally turned on reverb for me, clearing my throat instead of muting. Man, I'm wheezy today. Call me Lil Wheezy. Lil Wheezy. Ed Wedgie, thank you for the 5. I went through hoops on my phone to get here. My app folded and had a spasm. Oh, man. I've been having weird problems with the YouTube app as well. Derek Bermudez, thank you for the 2. Hey, man, love your content. Listen to you at work. Thank you, my friend. Hopefully your work day is going well. Happy Friday. Ed Wedgie, thank you for the 5. Speedrun bait. Yeah, I mean, devs telling you can get through the game in like 4 hours. You better believe people are going to be fishing for that. Game Joker, thank you for that one. Love you, bro. Any thoughts on Silent Hill F? I'll be honest, like, I have not dug into it much. I figured we would do like a big deep dive and look at all of the info all at once. That's my feeling. We might not have time to do it today, but maybe Monday we just do a big old deep dive into it. I think that could be fun, to just look at everything. Ed Wedgie, thank you also for the other 5 you sent. I feel like AC 1 and 2 is the very example of if you ignore, is a very good example. Let me try reading again. Ed Wedgie with the 5. I feel like AC 1 to 2 is a very simple example if you ignore everything else after. Okay, that is kind of funny. Yeah, it's just, I think it's so crucial for teams to be able to start with like a proof of concept game, a game that is weird and quirky and different. Let them try it. It's not going to break sales records. It's not going to like blow you away. It might even lose a little bit of money, but you'll see if the interest is there, if the concept really connects with players. And if it does, give them the ability to go all out, go crazy, and fulfill that ultimate vision. Because that's when you get masterpieces made. I mean, that's when you get KCD 2, Assassin's Creed 2, you know, that's when you really see the vision fulfilled. Even something like open world 3D Fallout. The first one was Fallout 3 and the second one was Fallout New Vegas. So like, it's pretty common that the second game in line with a new idea that connects with people is phenomenal if you give them the chance. They actually call it the old problem with trilogies, because what inevitably happens is the first game is the game that you like, you're trying to figure it out. You spend a lot of time piecing it together. And the second game is when you do everything you really wanted to do, but really well. And then the third game, you're like, well, we already did everything we want. I guess we just reinvent the wheel again. You know? When you don't really need to. Anti-Gravity, thank you for that £4, by the way. Isaac
Monteleone donated $9.99 through Super Chat. Just finished A Plague Tale 1 and 2 hardest button to 2 pressed, would love it adapted into movie. Love you Warwick, keep it up, thumbs up grin.
Thank you, my friend. And I know exactly what you're talking about, but that's exactly the point. We brought it up the other day in comparison to The Last of Us Part 2 and how some people say that The Last of Us Part 2's ending is just totally non-committal. Like they don't own it, you know? That game is the opposite. They're like, no, this is what we're doing. There is no escape. You're doing this. Because I also remember I sat at that screen. No spoilers, but I sat at that screen for a few minutes. It felt like an eternity. And I was like, is there some secret ending where I don't have to? Is there something here? So good. Plague Tale is so good, man. To the guy that said DS2, chill. Yeah. Witcher 3 was the second in its style. I guess technically, yeah. The way that they said it and described it, the CDPR guys, they said the first Witcher game, we literally were just trying to figure out how to make a video game. It wasn't even how do we make a good Witcher game. It was how do we make a video game? And so they're like, we figured that out. And then we made the second game. We're like, okay, let's explore some ideas. Let's make a really good Witcher game. And they did a really good job with Witcher 2. But then 3 was their chance to do everything they wanted to do in 2, but just bigger and badder and crazier. And so I think you're right. That is another example of a similar thing. Yeah. Yeah. Let's see. Sir Moist. What a name. I just started Ghost of Tsushima for the first time and I'm loving it for the most part, but I don't like how big the open world is. It is a much more, for lack of a better term, like wide game. Like it's very open. They have a lot of sweeping vistas and open fields and stuff. It's a much less dense world than you might expect. And I think really in a lot of ways, Ghost of Tsushima is a game built for photo mode. Like it is built for those set pieces that are just gorgeous, you know, like that just make you pause and go, wow. And that means it's going to be more empty. Like it's going to have much bigger empty spaces, but it's for the visual, you know, eye candy. That's why they put it there. But I absolutely understand how maybe it's too wide open if you don't like that way of doing it. It'll be interesting because just in like the previews and the trailers and stuff, if you've looked at like AC Shadows at all, which also is is a presentation of Japan and a recreation of Japan. Just in the preview footage they've dropped, their version of Japan, I think, is much more, appears to be much more realistic and much denser. So they're very, very different. Have you checked Hans Capon's 24-hour stream? He reached 100,000 subs in a month. That is wild. Yeah, dude, he's been killing it. He's been doing great. He's been on the grind, which is what he's got to do. And I love to see it, man. I love to see it. What do we still have time to go through? Maybe we touch on Nintendo real quick. Maybe we do that. Okay. Matt, thank you for the 5. Rumors of a Gears of War collection coming to PS5 this August. These games are the only reason I had an Xbox 360. Yeah, dude, I think they're going to just start going all out with that stuff. There's also, you know, the speculation right now that Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion remake is set to be announced and released next month. Potentially even with a shadow drop. So they may be announcing an Oblivion remake and dropping it in the same month. That's crazy. If they actually pull it off. I mean, if it's good. If it's good. Synth Potato says, that's insane. An Elder Scrolls remake possibly just being shadow dropped has me both excited and concerned. Skyrim is literally one of the biggest games ever. A remake of its prequel should be a massive deal. So I can't tell if this is insane confidence in the product or just putting it out there and being done. I'm not sure either. It could be... Yeah, like it is surprising that they wouldn't save it for June. You know, because they're going to have a big Xbox showcase, presumably without much to show. So it could signal that they actually have a lot of stuff to show from like BGS and just Bethesda Softworks in general. But they're going to be releasing like Doom before June. They're releasing, of course, South of Midnight before June. So what do they have for later this year? Fable just got delayed. They have probably a Starfield DLC and PlayStation port. What else do they have? What is something else that's releasing later this year from Xbox? I feel like I'm blanking on like 2. Like Fable was the big one expected for the fall. Maybe they are just counting on Call of Duty. Maybe that's the key. Outer Worlds 2, that is true. You're right, Shadow Wolf. They do have Outer Worlds 2 that's expected this year. Let's see. I'm trying to think of anything else that they've got lined up. Forza. Yeah. E-Day? Do you think E-Day still hits? When was that? Hold on. I mean, they do say that this PC Games, Verge's Tom Warren previously reported that Microsoft was targeting a release. Oh no. That was weird. My camera froze like hardcore. We're back, I think. That was really weird. I don't know what happened. This says, though, The Verge's Tom Warren previously reported that Microsoft was targeting a release in 2025. The report further suggests that E-Day will arrive ahead of Fable, which now does seem true. Which, at the time of the report, when he said that, was expected to be released between October and December. It's now slipped to 2026. So if that's true, Fable moving definitely opens up the fall. Maybe what they were thinking is, hey, we have to delay Gears of War. It needs a few more months. It's going to go into the fall/winter months. So we've got to delay it a little bit. That's interesting. So E-Day, maybe this is all about E-Day. They're just going to do like a big hour-long breakdown of E-Day. And that's going to be, you remember how they did the Starfield showcase where they did like 50 minutes just for Starfield? Maybe they do something like that. Perfect Dark, we just heard nothing about that. Maybe that could be a cool like surprise announcement. They have the handheld. Well, exactly. That's part of the reason why I'd be surprised if they only have like one game for the rest of the year, especially because seemingly they have the Oblivion remake. I'm just surprised why they would be dropping it in April when they have other projects releasing in that time period too. Like, why not just save the Oblivion remake for the fall? Release it the same day as the handheld, you know? The handheld that can't play Xbox games. Yeah, now I think it was Jez Corden came out and was saying it appears at this point it will not play Xbox ports. Meaning my dream of a handheld that basically just plays Series S ports to make it really easy to bring like big games to it without developer headaches. That does not seem to be the case. It seems like it's literally just going to be an ROG Ally with an Xbox logo on it, which maybe there's some other perks to it. Maybe there's some other cool stuff with it. But as of right now, the reports and leaks make it sound kind of like, oh, well, kind of underwhelming. But again, they're just leaks. We don't know. Elder Scrolls 6 deep dive? I don't think so, man, because that still almost certainly is like 2 to 3 years away. Some people have suggested maybe we see it next year, but I think it's way more likely they save it for 2027. They're going to do like a big hardware update. I cannot imagine a world in which they pump that thing out that fast. And it's good. I guess I should clarify. You know, Starfield took them, even if you start the clock at Fallout 76's launch, Starfield took them like 5 years. And 5 years from Starfield would be 2028. So if they take a similar amount of time, that's not ready for next year, you know? So I just don't know, man. It's going to be, I mean, maybe they blow us away, but I see no reason to think that they will be able to blow you away. I hope it's good, but we know what's going to happen with Elder Scrolls 6. Yeah, the hype's going to be crazy. It's going to be hyped into oblivion. People are going to say it's an amazing, breathtaking, stunning game of the generation, blah, blah, blah. And a bunch of very smart people are going to start buying into the hype. And then the game's going to come out. It's going to be really technologically behind the curve. And I mean, I think that's where it's headed. I think we know. Well, Witcher 4 will eat it alive. This is the problem for BGS, is that they have been progressing at a different rate technologically than the rest of the industry. And this is something like they similarly they don't care to address. Because if you chart like BGS, let's make them green. Let's make them gray. Their logo is gray. If you chart BGS's progress in terms of their technology, it's kind of like this, right? Like Skyrim, and then let's chart the industry average. Okay, so we'll say like Skyrim is here. Fallout 4 is here. Fallout 4. Maybe I should do like a dip for Fallout 76, but we'll just keep it here for ease of viewing. Like Fallout 76, and then Starfield, and then Elder Scrolls 6. So this has been their chart. The problem is for the rest of the industry, it's kind of been like this. For the rest of the industry, you know, even if you say Skyrim was about on par with what you could expect at the time, or even like a little better, what's happened is we've seen other games that have come out and other technological advancements in other engines, other teams. So Fallout 4 was like a little bit off from where everybody else was. It was still, I think, graphically pretty solid. I think it's a good looking game. Even now, I feel like it looks decent. It didn't run great. It had technical problems and polish problems at launch. It was pretty buggy. But not the end of the world. Not that far off, but certainly behind like The Witcher 3. And then we see like Fallout 76 significantly behind other MMOs releasing around that time. And, it also, like I said, probably should be down here because of how broken it was, but you get the point. And then Starfield comes out later and they've fallen even further. They have progressed, they've made improvements. This is trending up. It's just not anywhere near as fast as the rest of the industry. And as every year goes by, they fall further and further behind. And this gap gets even bigger because by the time that Elder Scrolls 6 launches, it's going to be launching next to like you said, The Witcher 4. And The Witcher 4 will almost certainly be on par with modern tech. I mean, they've already partnered with NVIDIA for Cyberpunk. So almost certainly they're going to be pushing it that way. So I think it's very, very likely that Elder Scrolls 6 and The Witcher 4 will launch very, very, similar timelines, probably in the same fiscal year. And those comparison videos, those are going to do some major damage, I think. Because they've already confirmed Elder Scrolls 6 is using Creation Engine 2. They're using the same engine as this game. And they'll have some improvements, some tweaks, some new bells and whistles. But it's using the same engine as Starfield. They're not even pretending like they're going to overhaul it or anything. So, do you really think it's going to fix all the problems of Starfield? They're literally saying it's going to use the same stuff. So I expect...
Mac DeRouse donated $9.99 through Super Chat. I just don't get why these companies keep slamming their heads into a wall expecting a different result. Just one more Creation Engine game, guys. They'll love it this time.
I think, when you listen to the interviews with Todd, there's a couple key pillars. It's our modders love it, which is true. Their modders are very used to the Creation Engine. That's what they know. That's what they're used to. It's true. I think it's easier for them to keep mods consistent if they do that. So that's one. The second one he brings up all the time is that the Creation Engine allows them to do things other engines couldn't, and it allows them to work quickly. Doing things other engines couldn't, what he means is stuff like their questing code base and their questing tools that are specific to them. Other engines don't have that, so they'd have to rebuild it if they moved. Or did, licensed out some other engine, which is what CDPR is doing right now. I mean, they've been rebuilding their own version of Unreal Engine, basically with the help of Epic in order to get where they need it to be. So he's right there. Absolutely. They'd have to redo all of that. And then he says it allows them to work faster. But that is one where I just genuinely have no idea what he's talking about. Because without a doubt, zero doubt, we know that Bethesda is working slower than ever before. There is no question. We can compare not just gameplay hours, if you want to compare that with Shattered Space, took them a year to make versus something like Far Harbor, which was significantly longer, and they pumped that thing out in less than 6 months. And Nuka World another 6 months after that. So they're not creating content faster. They're not fixing bugs faster. They're not there's nothing they are doing faster. So I have no idea. I have no idea what he's talking about there. But more than anything, maybe it's just that they feel like at this point, changing engines or updating something, whatever they would do to fix it, is just more of a headache than it's worth. Or the perhaps most damning answer is that, and the one I suspect is probably true, is that they don't see a problem. And I think you can look at a lot of interviews and you look at some of the most hardcore fanboys and you can see how they could come to that conclusion. Those interviews with Todd, where Todd says stuff like, he's asked, what do you think of the people that didn't like Starfield? What do you have to say to their critiques and stuff? And he says, well, Starfield had more players than any game we've ever made. It was the most polished game we've ever made. He doesn't really engage with the question. And I think it's like, maybe it is just denial. maybe, man. Like, it might just be that he's like, no, if you look at the numbers, we have more players than ever before. I'd be like, on Game Pass, yeah, you better. If you had less, that would be real bad. But I think he's able to just, like, they're, as a team, as a company, they are able to look at these stats and then pat themselves on the back and be like, everything's cool. And I think that it's no surprise then when you understand that perspective that maybe there's a little bit of denial.
Ed Wedgie donated $9.99 through Super Chat.
Thank you, Ed.
They see a problem. Bro Todd knows games. I'm sad cause it's company profit.
I think he knows that people view it as a problem, but does he think it's a problem? Because for him, he's like, okay, what defines a problem for them? Like, players aren't playing? Well, more players than ever are playing. Metacritic score? Starfield actually had a decent Metacritic score. Player engagement? They reported that their average player time as of, like, I forget what it was, like 3 months, 6 months or something after launch. Their average play time was like 40 hours, which is crazy. So for him, like, he's looking at all these metrics and he's like, what is the problem? Luke didn't like it that much? Boo-hoo. Like, how do you define it as a problem? What is the problem? The problem is that you don't like it as much as Fallout 4? As Skyrim? That's too bad. But more players than ever are playing it. You know, and I think that at the end of the day, you know, is probably what's happening. He could look at concurrent player counts. He could look at that. And I think that that's one thing they can't really argue with. Without a doubt, mod ship and like the amount of mods being made, and then also the player counts have plummeted compared to other games. So maybe that could signal something where it's like, okay, player attachment isn't that high. Players aren't playing these games for as many years, or Starfield for as many years as they did previous games. So maybe he looks at that, but I mean, yeah, in Earth Area, and yeah, Starfield sold a lot more than you would guess. Well, exactly. Like, Starfield sold a lot. It had more players than you would think. And yes, those players fell off pretty quick. You know, they're not playing the game the way that people still go back and play Fallout or even Skyrim. But for them, they're looking at their stats and they might not see a problem at all. They're like, you guys are talking about the engine issues. You guys are talking about technological shortcomings and this and that. But they may just consider it to be purely online issues, purely like, what did the Warner Brothers guys say about the Hogwarts Legacy stuff? I think he said, we consider all of those calls for boycotts a very online issue, which I think is probably right. Like, it's a very online issue. So, yeah, man. He's not wrong. Well, it's also a matter of perspective, you know, Happy Miro. Like, people complain about, like, iPhones, for example, the new iPhones every year. It's like, okay, so it's the same iPhone as last year, but now just more expensive. Okay, cool. Like, we complain about it all the time, but what happens? Millions upon millions of people upgrade to the newest iPhone. So, like, we're upset about X, but the behaviors aren't really changing, you know? Like, people are still buying it. You know, like, it's the same thing with Madden or FC or any of those sports games. People rage about how stupid they are and how they get worse every year, but they still buy them. Same with Call of Duty. They still buy it. So do they really need to fix anything? I mean, actions speak louder than words. People freak out about stuff verbally. People might be freaking out about Elder Scrolls 6 when it's announced and revealed. But if their behaviors don't change, if they still buy it, if they still do that, they don't need to change anything. industries have us by the balls. Not really. People can just not buy something, but it seems like they're not willing to do that. People are much more willing to rage about X, while meanwhile they still just buy X. Like, I hate this thing. I hate this controller. Take my money, thank you. I hate it. I hate having 2 controllers. I can't stand it. And they just rage about it, but they still buy it. They still spend their money. And so nothing changes because people are still doing it. It's like everybody memeing over like the 15th Skyrim port. And Todd, one day, he just kind of like let out a half joke where he was like, if you don't like it, don't buy it. But people keep buying them. And he's right. He's right. You're saying it's a problem, but your behaviors do not indicate a problem, you know? Yeah. No one knew Starfield was going to be so bad. We bought it because BGS, so they got 20 million sales off their name. I think I would have been more inclined to buy that argument if it was 2017. But after Fallout 76, I don't know how anybody could be like, yeah, they have a lot of goodwill with me. I don't understand how anybody could say that. Maybe they could compartmentalize it and be like, oh, well, it was like a separate thing. It was like a multiplayer game. And so that wasn't this team. So it's different. It's different. Maybe that's how they do it. I don't know. But it's like, I think that there's certainly a disconnect between some of the online discourse surrounding BGS games and what BGS considers to be the state of their games, which is fine. That's up for debate. But what's not up for debate is that they're putting stuff out slower than ever before. I think the quality of their work, specifically from like a creative perspective, is way less dynamic. I think, Shattered Space even demonstrates that really, really clearly. The writing quality has plummeted. I think that there's just a few things we can look at, regardless of more opinionated stuff, that we can quantify to show that something's changed. And I think it's probably that the team is just too big. I think it's too bloated, too bureaucratic. You listen to some of the dev talks at GDC or DICE, and it's very clear that that's what's going on. But we'll see. We'll see what happens to them. Optimus, thank you for that. 300 bits. There's a new video about, quote, how Bethesda has destroyed its reputation by Selwyn. Would you react to it? I mean, that sounds interesting. I could pull it up. We probably don't have time today, but I can pull that up in another tab and we could look at that. Booyah. Thank you for the suggestion. Thank you. Okay. Let us. Praise be, Wilfredo. Yes, praise be. If GTA dropped in autumn, everyone would pull out to spring 26. Probably if they, but I do think there's a lot of games that are currently floating in that fall time frame for 2025, and they're waiting for the lockdown, like, release date trailer for GTA 6. Once that trailer comes out, you're going to see a flood of announcements of other games. GTA is making everyone delay. Yeah, I think it's affecting a lot too. When does Gears come out? Still, I mean, they're allegedly targeting the fall and winter. So if they get it out, like, the previous reports was that they were shooting for like before Fable. Fable was expected maybe October, November, which would suggest that at least like a handful of months ago, Gears was looking like it could land September, probably. So maybe we just get that big deep dive in June for that. Yo, Luke, have you played RoboCop Rogue City? Just finished it. It's kind of underrated. Yeah, dude, I think we played it on stream. It's actually, or at least a chunk of it on stream. It's actually way better. Yeah, it's very surprisingly good. Like, you would think that game is trash. It's actually pretty good.
Edgar Vasquez donated $10 through
Thank you.
Super Chat. Do you think the GTA lives up to the hype?
Probably. Like, if I were a betting man, I'd probably say yeah. Yeah. just because Rockstar is one of the few publishers and developers that's able to meet hype. A lot of people were like, there's no way Red Dead 2 is good. Hype is too high, expectations are too high, and they somehow did it. So I would guess GTA 6 blows us away. GTA 6 Online, whatever that ends up being called, I will withhold a statement because I think it's very likely that is broken as hell when it drops. But the base game, the single player, probably pretty good. Let's see. New rumors say trailer 2 will come out late March. I think there is a decent sized probability that the GTA 6 trailer drops on April 1st. I think that would be really funny. And I can only imagine how viral it would go with people being like, new GTA 6 trailer, and everybody's like, yeah, you got me, April Fools, and then it's real. And you look at it, it's like, oh God, they're right. I think that would be such a funny troll. I think it would be so funny, and I really hope they do that. Okay, we caught up there. Let's touch on this real quick. News, Amy. Okay, so the elephant that is invisible in the room right now in the gaming industry is the Switch 2. I mean, we all know it's coming. Nintendo almost always has Game of the Year contenders, when they drop a new console as launch titles. And yet nobody's really talking about it. I mean, we're talking about like, ooh, the Game of the Year lineup for December. Oh, well, we probably have like Gears. We might even have Mafia, probably K-City 2. We probably are looking at like Monster Hunter. We're going through all this long list of candidates, and Nintendo usually gets left out, mostly because we haven't heard anything too specific about it. But they are expecting to probably announce it. Well, not probably. They're going to announce it in April, probably launch it in like May, meaning that they probably have a launch title or two, and then a fall release title that could be a Mario game, could be all sorts of stuff. So it's kind of like the invisible elephant in the room. Everybody knows about it, but nobody's really considering it because it's not tangible yet. Oh, Split Fiction. Thank you. Yeah, I knew I was like stretching for another couple, but you're right. Yeah, Split Fiction. Ed Wedgie.
Ed Wedgie donated $9.99 through Super Chat. Wait 5 minutes.
Are you telling me that they're going to drop the GTA 6 trailer number 2 in 5 minutes? Lock it in. Okay. Let's sit here quietly. No, I'm kidding. I'm not sure what you mean, my friend. Anyway, I think, thank you for the 10. Thank you. I think that it's going to come out. They're going to have some big stuff. And part of this, there's kind of two sides to it. For one, there are questions over price. And secondly, there's questions over whether this thing gets scalped into oblivion. Because everybody knows the current state of gaming hardware. They just launched the 50 series, and part of it is that there were seemingly 5 graphics cards made for the entire 50 series that they've been trying to sell across the globe. So they certainly had inventory issues, but also issues with scalpers. It's still very much a problem. I mean, even now, I wonder if I can find eBay 5090. Yeah, dude, this guy sold his for $7,000. 5090. And there's all these other listings, 4,500, 4,000, 6,500 for one graphics card, by the way. That offers very little improvement over the others. But anyway, stock is a big question right now. Like the inventory is a big question. But there's something interesting going on, okay? There's rumors and reports from shipping companies that suggests that a Vietnamese manufacturer called HVBG was contracted by Nintendo and has already produced and shipped to the US over 383,000 units of the Switch 2. More specifically, those units were shipped to North America in January and are intended for distribution through the US and Canada. In addition to the consoles themselves, LIC reports that HVBG has shipped just under 42,000 charging grip units as well. And this jives with something else that's been going on because, like, there's been a lot of like hardware leaks for months, like for 6 months. There's been hardware leaks, and typically in tech, hardware leaks are expected to happen like in the weeks leading up to launch of whatever product. You see it all the time with like iPhone stuff. You see it all the time with like, upcoming big tech items. Even like certain GPU launches will have certain stuff leak ahead of time, just because it's really hard to keep security locked down through the whole supply chain. But what is surprising is that Nintendo has had these leaks going on for well before they publicly announced that this thing even existed, which suggests that they've been ramping up production early. What does that tell you? Most likely, it means that they want to avoid the inventory problems that plagued the Switch 1 launch, which, if you remember, I mean, those things were impossible to get for like months. And there were some rumors and speculation over artificial scarcity that Nintendo was intentionally trying to limit supply in order to jump up excitement and hype for the console, because everybody's like, oh, I really want it. I really want to find one. And they're driving to stores, checking and trying to find one. My general thought is like, it's better to just sell the product to somebody instead of withholding the product to get them more excited to get it, like I'm not sure if I believe that, but who knows, maybe. But what's also been leaking with all of this is an announcement of the price. Now, before I reveal it, I think I accidentally flashed it on screen a minute ago. What would you consider to be a fair price for the Switch 2? The first console, of course, launched at $299. Not a huge shocker. But I think everybody kind of understands the odds of this thing launching at $300, very low. It's 2025. Inflation is a biatch. And as a result, it would be shocking if it launched at $300. So I see a lot of $399s, $400s, $399. Tariffs are certainly an artifact of this. I'm not sure if the tariffs, this is what's also interesting about this other report, is that they are suggesting that the shipments are specifically coming over from Vietnam. I honestly am not sure if any of the new tariffs are applied to Vietnam. I know they've applied some to like China. I know they've applied some to, of course, Canada, but I'm not sure if Vietnam is one of them. So maybe that's how they're getting around that, is by like assembling them in Vietnam and then shipping them from there up, which is, I mean, that's kind of a clever way of bypassing it. Just assemble them down there and then you don't have to worry about it. But I see a lot of people saying like $399, $379, $400. It doesn't have an OLED. It should be $299. I agree. It's expected not to have an OLED screen, which is a tragedy, but I agree. I think $399 is a good price point. And Bloomberg is actually reporting out that it is set for gaming's biggest ever launch, even at $400 plus. This is coming from investors and analysts that are expecting it to cost roughly $400. Quote, they will sell boatloads of the Switch 2 in the first few months in particular, almost regardless of the price, said Tokyo-based industry watcher Serkan Toto. Quote, we can expect a great software lineup in year one, from new Mario Kart and 3D Mario after 8 years to Pokemon Legends Z-A and Metroid Prime 4. There will also be third-party support from day one, most probably including blockbusters like Call of Duty. Okay. You were hoping they'd push the technical boundary? You were hoping they'd push that Call of Duty port? Nope. Cross-platform with the Switch. Toto is among a group of market observers who anticipate a price hike of $100 or more over the original Switch's price of $299. That includes Yijai Zai of UBS and Robin Zhu of Sanford Bernstein. Zhu expects Nintendo to release the console in June with the first day inventory of 6 to 8 million units. That suggests that if early sales go as planned, the new console would mark the biggest console launch ever. Recent successes, like the original Switch, are far below what Nintendo is preparing. The Switch, first one, sold 2.7 million units in its first month, while Sony Group Corp's two most recent PlayStation launches each sold 4.5 million units in their debut quarter. So their first 3 months. Now, with the PS4, I don't remember if stock was a big issue. Maybe their two most recent PlayStation, maybe they mean PS5 Pro and PS5 instead of PS5, PS4. I'm guessing that's what they mean. But I do think, you know, the Switch would have sold more in its first month if they had the inventory. I know I would have bought one if they had inventory, but it was sold out everywhere. So I do think that this number would have been higher if they had the inventory. But that seems to be one of their goals, is that they want to make sure they have all of the inventory so scalpers can buy 10 units. But it doesn't matter because you can go to the store and still buy one. And when they do that, it's like, yeah, no, good job. Congratulations, you got us 10 Switches, but you can go buy one at MSRP. So who cares? Like, nobody's going to buy it from the scalper, nor should they. Nintendo spokesperson declined to comment, which that tells you a lot. The Switch 2 will benefit from a vast library of compatible Switch games already on the market, plus a collection of marquee franchise releases timed to coincide with the launch. Still, its higher price will put into more direct competition with Sony and Xbox maker Microsoft Corp. Tokyo-based Sony surpasses expectation with its earnings over the holiday quarter thanks to popularity of PS5, which is also expanding a library of compelling games. They will have an online presentation about its much anticipated console on April 2nd, when it's expected to share more product details such as launch dates, pricing, and game titles. The Switch 2 is likely to have a larger 8-inch display and upgraded NVIDIA graphics hardware. Those more powerful internal components are likely to push up the cost of assembly. The original Switch's NVIDIA chip is estimated to cost $80 per unit, while the Switch 2's chip is likely to be in the realm of $130 to $150. Tokyo Securities analyst Hideki Yasuda said, quote, I wouldn't be surprised if Nintendo goes ahead with 500. If you saw this, the Switch 2, release at 500, is that an immediate turnoff? Is that an immediate no-go? Or do you still buy it? Paint the picture. You've seen the pictures of it. You've seen the pictures of the Switch 2. It's a plastic device. It's expected to have a 1080p screen, LCD, not OLED. And this analyst is saying he wouldn't be surprised if they pushed to 500. Wouldn't be surprised. And that to me is pretty steep, I think. Poll. Okay. Here we go. Straw poll. Create a poll. Is 500 for a Switch 2 a... let me say it is 500 for a Switch 2 to... Okay, 500 for a Switch 2. Let's do it this way. Still buying. Not buying at launch. I'll specify at launch. We'll do it that way. Still buying at launch, not buying at launch. Okay. Copy poll.
Jack donated $10 through Super
Okay.
Chat.
Vote.
So glad I waited to buy a Switch, so I could not buy a Switch 2. R. Black flag.
R. Black flag indeed. Yeah, no, I mean, and I'm sure Switches are going to go on the market. They're going to be $50 a pop, dude. People are going to be selling them. Like, kids are going to be buying it, trying to get the money for the Switch too, and so they're going to be selling their Switches. Like, I think it's going to be crazy. Where's the never buying option? I mean, you're technically not buying it at launch, so you technically fit into that category. Yeah, that's about right. 80% immediate turn off. Let's do a base one though. While you're filling out that one, $3.99. Switch 2. Buying at, I can't type today. Buying at launch, not buying at launch. Let's do it this one so we can see if you guys would respond to the $400 price point differently. Let's see. Because with this one, you guys are saying 85% roughly not buying. Okay. I have a lot of PC gamers in here, it seems. Still, though, they're dropping off like a pretty solid 20%. Just based on that price. So, seems like that extra $100 makes a big difference. It makes a big old difference. But this is why it's important to ask this question too. Because if this number were this, and then this number were like 90% are buying it, that's horrifying. With this, it's like, okay, you're losing like, okay, now it's at 30%. You're losing half of your buyers by raising the price by 100, at least within this sample, you know. It's still not great. Oh. It depends, Luke, because if it has no relevant launch games, then I believe 400 is too much, considering you can get a PS5 for 300 through Sony refurbished sale. Yeah, ultimately, games are what will move it. If they have a Breath of the Wild level, massive, you know, beautiful, amazing game that, you know, people are saying is one of the best games ever made, that obviously moves copies.
At launch if it were $500. I would wait a few months before pulling the trigger.
Yeah, I think a lot of people probably would. 500, I think, would get memed hard. Especially because what happens when you price it at 500? I understand they have Joy-Cons. I understand they have these other bells and whistles. But all anybody's going to think is they're going to start comparing it to a PS5 and a Series X. They're going to start comparing it to those other $500 devices. They're going to compare it to the Steam Deck. And it's going to become a much harder sell. So in my opinion, they've got to hit 400. That's my opinion. I think you got to hit 400. 500, I think, is way too much. Yeah, that console should have crazy games like PS5. Yeah, if you're going to charge 500 and you are running a tighter lineup that looks and runs significantly worse, watch it has 64 gigs internal this time. Dude, if they do that again, oh my God. But let's be honest, they might be really generous and upgrade us to 128 gigs. Bear in mind, they're expecting Call of Duty to be ported to this thing. The 300 gig monstrosity, if you install all the pieces to it. There's a strong possibility if you want to play Call of Duty, you cannot play Call of Duty without buying an extra, like, major attachment for it. Like a $300 micro SD card. You need a massive hard drive, glue it to the back. When they launch the new 3D Mario, Metro Prime 4, and the new Mario Kart, I'll get one then. Yeah, probably. Yeah. Ray Flew, is it bad I'm watching you on YouTube and Twitch at the same time with your voice echoing? I'm actually genuinely curious, Ray. Which platform has lower latency? Which one do you hear my voice through first? I'm curious. I wonder. buying a $500 gaming laptop is better than a $500 Switch 2. I mean, again, it all comes down to the games. All comes down to the games, man. They come out at the same time, but Twitch does buffer more frequently. Interesting. And we're a Twitch partner, so they should be transcoding and everything. That's interesting. Surreal Gill also, thank you for the sub. And Juicy, thank you for the sub as well. Thank you. Thank you. Did you see the Gamer article about Life is Strange being considered a disappointment by Square Enix? I did not see that. I mean, the few people... I have a friend that played Life is Strange, Lost Records, I think is what it's called. And they... I'm looking for it. They did not like it. Maybe if I just search Silent Hill. Unless I'm just scrolling right past it. Dude, they pump out so many articles. Jesus. This is the problem. Like, I entertained launching a gaming, like, website, news website. But it just takes so much content to flood the algorithms to be competitive. Like, all of these articles have been posted in the last 12 hours. And I already went through another page. 2 other pages. Like 13, 13, 13, 14, 14, 14, 15, 16, 16, 16, 16 hours ago. Like, they pump out so many. Also, there is no way they're pumping out this many articles without, like, ChatGPT writing them. There's no way. Like, there's no way. Guide search. You said it was a gamer article on Life is Strange. Ugh. 1 day ago. So like 80 articles before. Life is Strange double exposure sales were a large loss for Square Enix. The financial report says that double exposure, so this is not Lost Records, whatever, this is double exposure. It seemed like it'd be a slam dunk for fans of the franchise or series. Sure, there were questions about how it would handle the first game's big choice, but bringing back the heroine that started Life is Strange is the first place seemed like surefire bet. Yeah, man. Square Enix, they consider it a large loss. Previously, they've only used that term to describe games like Guardians of the Galaxy and even some of the Tomb Raider titles. How on earth has Square Enix had so many problems recently? They've got so many big IP. Like, how are they still having problems with this? They're different devs than Lost Records. Okay. It's don't nod. Last of Us 3 leaks. I have not seen any Last of Us 3 leaks. Unless they're like super old. Wait, what the hell? I just searched on X, Last of Us 3 leaks, and the top result is from February 27th, 2020, and it's SkillUp saying, holy effing shiz. These Baldur's Gate 3 leaked screenshots look absolutely incredible. It is amazing how they made it look even better by launch, because these don't look bad at all. But why is this the top result to The Last of Us 3 leaks? Like, what? I don't get it. I don't understand. Your first problem was you looked up on that. Well, I figured if something leaked, it would be trending or people would be sharing it, but I guess not. I guess not. I mean, I'm not seeing anything. I see story rumors and speculation. Yeah, these quote unquote leaks about The Last of Us Part 3. This is from 2023 though. Daniel RPK. I think that this leaker, I'm guessing this was for the online game. It'll have 5 new characters: Lucas, Mason, Val, Ezra, and Gracie. They're a group of scavengers meant to be surviving in the outskirts of a post-apocalyptic city. Certainly sounds like the online game, using a Victorian house as their base. Lucas is an affable character, develops a relationship with the younger scavenger, and will have a turn to show his dark side. The younger scavenger could perhaps be Gracie, who said be between the ages of 18 and 25. I'm guessing these are all for the online game, if they're real. Because now they're saying that they are, don't get your hopes up for a part 3. So who knows? Check it. I linked it above. If you linked it, they flagged it and YouTube deleted your comment. So I do not see a link. Yeah. They do not play. YouTube chat does not like links. Yeah. Hello, how are you? I'm good. We're rocking and rolling. Let's see. I gotta make sure I'm not going too late. Tagged you in a tweet 1 second ago. I am looking. And now it is frozen. Why is it frozen? Okay, that's weird. Okay. Okay, I don't know what's happening. Did X just go down for me? Maybe. At the precise moment we need it most, it goes down. Well, I guess when it finally loads, I'll be able to pull it up, and maybe we look at it on Monday, because X is just not loading at all. Oh wait. Loading. Let's see. Let's see. From Dom the Bomb. Okay, we got it. So, technically. Naughty Dog 3 is reportedly already in advanced production for The Last of Us Part 3 and has actors filmed in some scenes. This is as of March 10th, 2025. Neil Druckmann literally just said in an interview, don't get your hopes up for part 3. I don't understand what's happening. I don't understand. This is a rumor from Daniel RPK. Dom the Bomb says, please take this with a grain of salt, but what a roller coaster ride this past week has been. I, for one, regardless of all the recent comments from Neil and Naughty Dog, believe a part 3 is in development secretly and will release after Intergalactic. They do, I mean, you can't deny it. They do have a history of straight up lying about marketing stuff. So that is true. Oh no. He locked it behind a paywall. I don't know, man. It feels weird to be leaking stuff and then locking it behind paywalls. Well, I guess we're not looking at it. I guess we're not looking at it. Yeah, it sucks to suck. Brokey can't pay, I guess, yeah. He can have one hawk to a coin, exactly. It's just the Last of Us 2 remake with Aloy.
$9.99 through Super Chat.
Please.
If you could pick your dream team of game designers to make a game together, who would you pick? I'd pick Tetsuya Nomura and Hideo Kojima to make an action RPG game.
Oh. If I had to pick. I mean, I could go more broadly. I'll go teams. I'll go teams instead of individuals. I think I would have... I think I would have like 2012, 2010-ish BioWare paired with 2016 Naughty Dog and 2025 Rockstar, and have them all work on a massive, dark, gritty pirate RPG. Pull that off, lock it in. Easy, right? Just get Naughty Dog, GT, Rockstar, a decade-old version of BioWare that doesn't exist anymore. Just get them together and it'll be good. Do that. Yeah. We're going to do Concord this time, but we're going to do it right. Yeah. This time it's going to actually be like Star Wars. I don't know. I was hoping somebody in the comments Okay, that's funny. That's funny. I'll give you that. They cast Ellie, guys. Dude, I kind of feel bad for Dom because these comments are painful, dude. Some of these comments are quite nasty. Oh, man. It's just anything around Naughty Dog is just so toxic right now. It's really quite funny. Okay. Man, I'm subbed to him. It's his job, so I can tell you what he said. He says, I know what Neil said, but I know for a fact that they've cast and filmed scenes for the third. I mean, it might just be that he's like, yeah, we want people to be surprised when it drops. So I'll just tell people don't get your hopes up. I don't know what the benefit of that is, but who knows? Silent Hill stuff. Yeah, I think we're going to go do a deep dive on like Monday. I think we're going to do that because I'm kind of out of time. But thank you for the 5. Thank you. Do you want to check out new clips of Battlefield? The official ones or the leaked ones, Ark? Because I saw some, I mean, I didn't see some of the leaked ones. I didn't. The ones that were all over social media, I didn't see those. And because I didn't see them, I couldn't tell you how they looked kind of awesome. Which is too bad because I'd like to be able to tell you that, but I didn't see them, so I just don't know, man. Yeah. I hope they just like release it, open it up, be transparent. It's gonna leak anyways. You knew it was gonna leak anyways. Like there was no surprise when that like those clips dropped. They knew it was gonna leak. Like just embrace it, you know? Could they not golf Joel in the show? I think there's a strong possibility that they don't have Abby use a golf club. I actually think there's a pretty strong likelihood that they do like because is it Caitlin Deaver? I think it's Caitlin Deaver. The actress that's playing Abby. She's like significantly smaller than Abby in the game. Like she's not built like a gorilla. So I think that there's a strong possibility they do something where she just like shoots him or something like that. Maybe she like pistol whips him or something while he's held by her friends, and then she just shoots him. I think they do something like that. She won't technically murder him. It'll be a fight. Oh, Ryan, you think they do that? Where it's like she gets in a confrontation with him, she yells at him, screams at him, and he tries to take the gun away and then accidentally shoots him. And then they're like, see? Abby shot him in the leg first, remember? Yeah, but then she was like this weird, she has a line where she says like that would be too fast, or that'd be too easy. She says something like that. And then it's a very active choice to beat him to death. And there's something in the back of my head that just makes me think that they're going to try to make her more sympathetic, because beating a man to death feels... It's much harder to make that character sympathetic, which I think is what they realized. Like, it's kind of hard to be like, oh, I understand her now after playing for a few hours. It's hard to get there when you just watched her beat a man to death with a golf club unnecessarily. If you wanted to just kill him because he killed your father, maybe there's redemption. But to do it with a golf club is tough. That's tough to get over. You don't get to rush this. Or is that what Ellie said? In the red room with the spores, killing Nora? I don't remember the exact lines. Because Ellie says something very similar, and it's meant to be a mirror. They meant to mirror Abby beating Joel with Ellie beating Nora. To be like, see, they are the same. It's like, okay, I guess. The red light really sold it. You remember that scene where she's like swinging with the steel pipe or whatever? Ellie said I can make it much quicker. Yeah, same vibe. Same vibe. Same vibe. She beats a woman to death with a steel pipe to find out where Abby went. And it's also kind of a mirror to Joel when Joel tortured the guys in the chairs. When Ellie was taken in winter in the first game. So there's similes all over those games. She was going to die anyways. Does that make it okay though? Because she said I can make it much quicker, but she did not. And then I think the first shot after that, you remember she does that with the steel pipe. It like goes to black, and then it cuts to her hand in front of the theater and it's shaking. I think that was the first shot after that sequence. Orem, why not? Oh God, we have a psychopath in our midst. Why not? Sorry, that's just such an insane like counter. I frankly don't understand the problem with her beating Joel to death. I mean, he was like in his late 50s. Death's a coming. What's the harm? It was gonna happen anyway. Like, Jesus Christ, dude. Oh man. Oh, Jax, Luke, you have one of the coolest setups on Twitch, brother. Oh, thank you. I have a lot of toys. Certainly. I have a sword. I have a death mask. I have grandma. Some play buttons. It's a cool setup. Yeah, thank you. Abby Woods. That's the change they're making. They've been signaling that they're going to make changes all this time, and it turns out they're just renaming her Abby Woods. She was actually a professional golfer before the virus started spreading. Her whole family, very successful golfers. The whole game, they actually, you know how Kojima did the whole Monster Energy drink thing in Death Stranding? Well, in this game, they're just drinking Arnold Palmer's the whole time. It's a little callback. They also were willing to sponsor it, so that helped too. Dude, I'd be down for that. Have you finished AC Shadows? I'm not allowed to tell you. Sorry, Ice. I'm not allowed to tell you. I literally cannot tell you anything. Because if it, like, this is, we talked about it the other day, because like if we're doing a review thing, a review embargo if we're under embargo. Imagine if like everybody hears that codes went out on Monday and you ask a reviewer on Tuesday morning, did you finish it? And they say, yeah, I finished it. You know, that game took less than 24 hours to finish. Almost certainly it took less than like 10 or 15, you know. You can start to guess certain information about it, which is why the rule is you just don't say anything. Yeah. Don't talk about your opinions. Just sing them instead. A reviewer tweeted just rolled credits without hiding the hour PS5 counter saying 65 hours-ish. Yeah, they're definitely not allowed to do that. Definitely not. Maybe they got specific approval. That's possible. If you talk to your press contact and you're like, hey, can I say this? Can I tweet this? Then you can get specific overrides. But based on the information we receive as part of this, you get the code. They tell you like in a bullet pointed list what you can say. And if you're wanting to say something that's not over there, it's like a disaster. Just don't do it. Jay Moore, thank you for the 5. Luke, create the dialogue. Forspoken, Suicide Squad, Dustborn, Dragon Age. Oh, God. I think it's different based on how long you're exposed to it. Similar to radiation or food poisoning. I think Forspoken is really, really bad in short squirts. I know the term is spurts. I'm going to use the word squirt, keeping up with the food poisoning analogy. Suicide Squad is really bad in the broad strokes. And there's little spikes where it's really bad in the individual lines, but it's really bad just in the broad strokes. The whole idea of like everybody's cloned and you kill Batman, but it's a fake Batman. Like it's so stupid. And some of the big choices to have like, you know, Lawless as a character. It's dumb as hell. To gender swap Mr. Freeze or Dr. Freeze for some reason, like just dumb. So that's bad in the long exposure, you know. Dustborn, that is just straight up rat poison. Everything about it is laughably horrible, which is why it failed so catastrophically. And Dragon Age, I think, is mainly, it gets really tough to deal with over the long term too. You play the first 10 hours and you're like, okay, I'm kind of digging this. And then you get halfway through and it's like, we need to fix our friendships before we take down the elven gods. And as long as we're trying our best and we focus on friendship, that's all that really matters. It's like, nope. The entire city that was destroyed, that mattered too. But I guess we're just gonna talk about our fifis like that. I just can't. Saints Row. Yeah, Saints Row is also really bad across the board. Really bad. What? You all have student loans, don't you? It's relatable. Oh, man. I love that voice. You should do audiobooks. Oh, God. Just give a bunch of people brain tumors from having to listen to Rook for that long. Oh, man. Let's see. Kojima emoji when. Oh, that's a good idea. We should totally add that. Rook has good VO. It's the voice actor is talented without a doubt, but an actor is only as good as their script, and that script was tough. It's real tough, man. Like the individual line delivery, solid. It's just how do you make dialogue like that not sound hilariously stupid? Like I don't know. Throw in a Jor emoji. Oh my God, you're totally right. We should add Jor as an emote, not tell him, and then you guys just start flooding the chat with it when we do the podcast one day and see if he notices. Dude, we should totally do that. That sounds awesome. Okay, I'm going to put that on my to-do list. Jor emote. Promise is, though, all members have to flood the chat with it. At some point, maybe when he mentions Horizon or something like that, you flood the chat with it. That would be really funny. An emote of Jor dabbing. Secret word. I need a signal. What would be a signal? What if I bring up the Horizon multiplayer game just out of nowhere? If I bring it up, that's when you start flooding it. You know? Because Horizon, he'll probably say the word Horizon. But if I'm like, yeah, and similar to that Horizon Online game that's coming, then you know to bring it up. If we bring that topic up. You're still going to make a shirt that says foolishness from a few days ago? Yeah. I'm hoping to get samples soon. Yeah, foolishness. Okay, well, fam, I've got to go. I've got to put a gigantic pork butt on the smoker for tomorrow. It's going to be like a long 24-hour smoke. It's going to be awesome. So buckle up, buckaroo. It's going to be a good time. Until next time, have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. Jay Moore, any new statues yet? Not really. Same old, same old. It's just kind of is what it is. I have more Legos we have to build, but we'll get there. Anyway, have a fantastic weekend. Much love, everybody. Thank you for your generous super chats, subs, all of that stuff. You guys are amazing. Become a member if you haven't already for OG badges and access to the new Discord we're going to be launching hopefully next week. And we're going to be launching some extra members-only streams. It's going to be a really good time, okay? Until next time, everybody, much love. Bye-bye.